All right, welcome to Lecture 3. We've covered the building blocks of agentic systems and how to orchestrate them. Now we're going to zoom in on a single agent and the platform where most business agents get built, and that's Copilot Studio. This lecture covers the 3 core building blocks: the orchestration methods that the exam tests by name, prompt actions, and the 3 agent types. There's a lot of exam-specific content here, so stay focused. Every agent in Copilot Studio is built from 3 elements: topics, tools, and flows. Think of them this way. Topics are the ears. They determine what the agent understands. Tools are the hands. They do the work. And flows are the brain, the wiring. They connect understanding to action in a logical sequence. So let's start with topics. A topic is a conversational scenario the agent can handle. Each topic has trigger phrases that tell the agent when to activate it, and a conversation flow that defines what happens next. For example, a banking agent might have a topic for check account balance, or transfer funds, and report lost card. Each one is a separate topic because each one is a different conversation with different steps. We'll keep our topics very focused. One topic, one job. If you try to cram account balance and account history and account settings into a single topic, you'll get kind of an untestable mess. Next, tools. A tool is something that the agent does in the real world. It might call a REST API. It might query a Dynamics 365 record or run a Power Automate flow. It could send an email. Tools are reusable. If 5 different topics all need to look up a customer record, then build just one fetch customer tool and reference it from all 5. That way, when you fix a bug or add a field, you fix it once for all of them. And then flows. Flows are the orchestrational logic within a topic. When a user triggers transfer funds, the flow specifies to capture the source account number, capture the destination account number, capture the amount, validate that the accounts belong to the same customer, check the balance, and execute the transfer if the funds are sufficient, or explain why the transfer can't proceed if they're not. Flows handle branching, loops, and error paths. Every flow should explicitly handle what happens when things go wrong. What if the API times out? What if the account doesn't exist? Designed for failure, not just the happy path. This is content the exam specifically tests by name, so pay attention. Copilot Studio offers 3 methods for deciding which topic or action to invoke when a user sends a message. Classic NLU, or natural language understanding. This is rule-based. You define trigger phases for each topic, like what's my balance? That matches the account balance topic. Transfer money matches the transfer topic. Classic NLU works well when your user's language is predictable and your intent categories are well defined. It's simple, it's fast, it's easy to debug. It's a little brittle. If a user says, I need to know how much cash I have left, and that exact phrase isn't a trigger, the agent might not match the right topic. Then there's CLU, or conversational language understanding. This is a machine learning model. You train it on labeled examples. You provide dozens of sample utterances and tag them with the correct intent. The model learns patterns and can generalize. So if you've trained it on what's my balance and how much money do I have, it might also correctly handle, can you tell me what I have in checking? Even though it hasn't seen that exact phrase before. CLU also extracts entities, things like account names, amounts, dates from the user's message. It's more flexible than Classic NLU, but requires training data and ongoing tuning and monitoring. Now, there's also generative orchestration. This is the newest and now the default for new agents. Instead of matching trigger phrases or using a trained classifier, The LLM itself reads the user's message and reasons about which topic, action, or knowledge source to invoke. It uses the descriptions you wrote for your topics and actions to make its decision. If you describe your account balance topic as handles questions about checking, savings, or investment account balances, the LLM reads that description and routes the user there. Generative orchestration is the most flexible because the LLM can handle complex multi-intent messages and route dynamically. Sounds great, right? But the trade-off is that it's less predictable. You don't have an explicit trigger, and so testing and monitoring become more important. For the exam, know all three by name and when to use each. Classic NLU for simple, predictable scenarios. CLU when you need intent recognition across varied phrasing. And generative orchestration for natural, flexible conversations where rigid matching doesn't work. Now, prompt actions are a powerful concept the exam tests. Instead of calling an external API or running a flow, a prompt action uses the LLM itself as a tool. Here's how it works. You define inputs, write a natural language prompt template, and specify the expected output shape. When the action runs, the LLM processes the prompt with the live inputs and returns structured output. So for instance, a real example here. A support team gets hundreds of tickets daily. Before routing each ticket, you want a summary and a severity classification. So you create a prompt action. Given this support ticket text, provide a one-sentence summary and classify as severity low, medium, or high. The LLM reads the ticket, generates the summary, and classifies the severity. No API needed, no custom code, just a well-crafted prompt. Here's another example. A sales team wants personalized product recommendations. The prompt action takes the customer's purchase history as input, and the prompt says, based on this purchase history, I recommend 3 products the customer is likely to buy next. And you return that as a numbered list with brief reasons. The LLM generates its recommendations based on the patterns that it sees in the history. Prompt actions shine when you need to transform, summarize, classify, or generate structured content from unstructured input. They're fast to build and easy to iterate because you're just editing a prompt. You're not writing code. Now let's talk about the 3 agent types the exam explicitly tests. First, prompt and response agents. These are the simplest. This agent answers questions from knowledge sources but takes no actions. Think of an internal HR FAQ agent. Employees ask, how many vacation days do I have? Or what's the parental leave policy? The agent looks up the answer in SharePoint documents or a knowledge base and responds. No workflows, no API calls, just knowledge-grounded answers. Next, design considerations. Make sure your knowledge sources are current. Use clear system prompts to set boundaries and configure a fallback for questions outside of the scope. Next, task agents. These complete multi-step workflows using actions and flows. Our IT password reset agent is a good example. It verifies identity, triggers a reset, and confirms completion. Task agents can branch, loop, and handle errors. Design considerations, well, define clear action chains, handle every failure path, set time boundaries, and build in escalation to humans for edge cases. Next, autonomous agents. These run independently, often on a schedule or triggered by some business event. There's usually minimum human involvement. A nightly agent that processes expense reports, validates receipts against policy, flags exceptions, and auto-approves anything under $500. It runs at 2 a.m., processes 1,000 reports, and the finance team reviews only the flagged ones in the morning. For autonomous agents, you need the strongest guardrails. You need robust monitoring and clear escalation when confidence is low. You need spending limits and audit logs. When there's no human watching, the controls built into the agent are all you have. Match the agent type to the task. The exam specifically penalizes over-engineering, like using an autonomous agent for simple facts when a prompt and response agent would do the work. It also penalizes under-engineering, like using a prompt and response agent when the task requires a multi-step execution. Let me tie this together with a quick design walkthrough. An IT department wants an agent in Teams to handle password resets. So we'll create a topic called password reset with trigger phrases like, I can't log in, reset my password, locked out of my account. We're using generative orchestration, so the LLM matches the user's intent to this topic based on the topic description. The flow runs 2 actions. Action 1, verify the employee's identity using Intra ID connector. And Action 2, trigger the password reset through a Power Automate flow that calls the identity management system. Our guardrail would be, if identity verification fails twice, don't keep trying. Escalate to the help desk immediately. This prevents social engineering attacks where someone tries to reset another person's password. Response on success, your password has been reset. Check your email for instructions. Our agent type, well, this will be a task agent. It has a defined workflow with actions, branching, and escalation. It's not prompt and response because it takes action. It's not autonomous because it responds to a user request. It's not on a schedule. So 4 key points from this lecture. Number 1, topics handle intent. Tools handle execution. Flows handle logic. Keep them separate for clarity and maintainability. 2, know the 3 orchestration methods by name. There's Classic NLU for simple matching, CLU for trained intent recognition, and then generative orchestration for flexible LLM-driven routing. Generative is the default for new agents. Number 3, prompt actions turn the LLM itself into a tool. No API, no code, just a well-crafted prompt that transforms input into structured output. You saw that with our example in section 2. 4, 3 agent types. Number 1, prompt and response for Q&A type things. Task for workflows, and autonomous for independent operation. Match the type to the task complexity and the business risk. Now you know how to build agents in Copilot Studio. Next lecture, we will look at pre-built copilots for sales and service in Dynamics 365, how they work right out of the box, and how to extend them for your business. So I'll see you there.